The lights are off and the way they
Loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the complete that. He's crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through, he tags Richard Eckert.
Welcome to the Champion Motorsports GT Sprint Series. With 3 wins from 3 starts, Humberto Roca seems to have the Sprint Series well in hand in the Pro class. What can the challengers do to turn things around? Well, maybe we will find that out today. Meanwhile, in the Pro-Am class, Tim Collier still leads the way. Folks, this is round number 4 and we are in London, well, about 30 miles outside of London anyway. And we are at the famous Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Soon we will hear, or you will hear, the roar of the BMWs, Fords, McLarens and roofs once again. The race is live on the Global Sim Racing channel and I am your host Richard Losper. With me in the broadcast booth is Kevin Brown, our director is Joe Peak and our camera sets are provided by the inimitable Dougie Beard. Kevin, Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit, one of my favorites. Do tell us some more about this track, please.
Well, Richard, as you said, Brands Hatch, located just a little bit outside of London. It is a fantastic track if everything's working out for you. But man, if your setup ain't wrong, if the weather's too hot for your car or something like that, it is a nightmare to drive here. It's a short track, just 2.3 miles, 3.7 kilometers. Supposedly it's got about 9 turns. They're all kind of blind corners, elevation changes, lots of really, really fast corners. There's really only one slow corner, and that's turn 2 Druids. So this is a very, very fast course. It's difficult to pass here because of all these high-speed corners. And to give you a sense of just how high speed it is, we have a lap guide for you right about now.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC Z4, so let's do a lap around Brands Hatch. Right off the bat, we've got the tricky Paddock Hill Bend. The whole thing is blind, and there's this enormous drop that can take the car out from under you if you're not careful. At the bottom of the hill, the car compresses and will catch, but by then you're setting up for the braking into Druids. This is a potential passing zone if you can get a run on someone, but it's very easy for it to turn into a dive bomb and take both of you out. Once you exit, switch right and get ready for Graham Hill Bend. The braking zone is tricky here with a slight kink, but you can carry a lot of speed and use the runoff to the right to your advantage. From there, it's a short burst along the Cooper Straight into Surtees. This is a critical turn with a very late apex. With this steep incline and a long stretch afterwards, the sooner you can get to the power, the better the lap. But interestingly, even with a good exit, you might not always find a passing opportunity. At the end is Hawthorne, which is a very fast corner. Either you'll need cooperation from your opponent or a lot of guts to make it stick. Now we're into the back section in the woods. First up is Westfield, which requires precision to hit just right. With this being an old school track, there's very little runoff on either side to save you if you mess up. Then there's no time to relax before Dingledale and Sheen, which also tests the driver's accuracy. It'll be single file the whole way through here. Finally, we switch across and use the banking of Sterling to once again wring out every ounce of momentum the tires can take. We'll finally be exiting the trees and setting the car up for Clark, which has another crest at the apex. Get it right and it's a breeze. A foot off or so and you'll be spitting out gravel. It's a short lap in modern cars, but no less difficult as we complete a lap at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch. You've just had a good look at what it takes in a GT3 car to get around this track. As Kevin said, it is tough. I have to say though, this is one of my all-time favorites. I don't know why. Sometimes the track just gels with you, and this is certainly one that I do like. Well, Kevin, let's talk a little bit about the championship. Bearing in mind this is the Sprint Series. And let's have a look at the top 5 drivers in the Pro-Am class.
In the Pro-Am class, all right, we're going to change it.
Sorry, the Pro class. My apologies.
All right, do you want to take that, Richard, or should I? Let's get our ducks in a row here.
All right, well, I'll take it then. Humberto Roca, number 1 on 105 points. Dujon Baldwin, who I believe is not here today, is in second position on 92 points. Paul Darling, who certainly is here and looks like he's very fast today, is in third place. Arthur Hamom in fourth place, and Drew Litke in the fifth position. Kevin, let's have a look at the Pro-Am class.
All right, the Pro-Am class, and this is for drivers who are under a 1600 I rating or have been promoted or demoted as otherwise determined by the admins. For instance, Drew Litke, after his great Pro-Am finish last season, promoted to the Pro class. Anyhow, first up is Tim Collier, who is here tonight in the Can-Am Racing McLaren. Second, Eduardo Tomedi, not here tonight in the 880 Orange Ford GT. Third, Robert Tarbox Jr. He is here tonight in that screw loose BMW. Fourth is James Hume, who is not here tonight. And fifth is Cleaver Gomes, who is also not here tonight. So I'm going to go out on a limb and predict that there's going to be some movement at the top of the Pro-Am field, Richard.
Okay. Well, this is certainly good news for Tim Collier. No doubt, sitting in that first position there, and with some of the main rivals not around, he'll be rejoicing a little bit, I think. Well, let us have at the team. Let's have a look at the team standings, and Kevin, I will give you the pleasure of calling out the top teams.
Okay, sounds like there may be some issues with the graphics we're seeing on screen. So anyhow, the team championship right now is 8 or 80 Red with a huge 33-point lead over Puffin Racing Pro. Yep, and we're not seeing the correct teams data, so I'm not sure what's going on. So you'll just have to listen to me as I read out the correct information. In third place is 8 or 80 Orange. They are 35 behind the leaders, 8 or 80 Red. In fourth is Magno Autosport Delta, who is 36 back. And fifth is Magno Autosports, the sister car of Magno Autosport Delta. They are 36 behind. And not too far behind them in sixth is Can-Am Racing. So without many of the 8 or 80 guys are not here tonight, so probably there's going to be a shakeup in the team standing as well.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, this track, this is a jolly good track for those who like it. For those who don't like it, and for certain cars, perhaps, do you think, Kevin, that with some of the cars, maybe the Ford GTs, not so good over here?
Actually, I've been hearing word that the Ford GT is pretty good here at Brands Hatch, especially with the last Balance of Power or Balance of Performance update from iRacing. I expect the roof to be pretty good here today. The BMW might be okay. This is the kind of track where it tends to suit me when I'm in the BMW. The McLaren could be fast, but you need it to be very, very loose. So you might wind up baking off those rear tires. So again, I think I've said this before, maybe I'm beating a dead horse, but I think a lot of it's just going to depend on your setup in the car and how comfortable the driver is with that setup, and that's really going to boy, I can talk tonight. That is going to be what determines how well they do tonight, I think.
Alrighty, well, let's have a look at the weather. Of course, the weather is dynamic. The track is dynamic as we have these days. It's a clear skies with 21 degrees Celsius. The track is 36 degrees Celsius. And we have quite a strong wind there, 17 kilometers per hour from the east. And it's quite dry out on track, so the humidity is only 47%. So that should make the track a little slippery for the guys. Fuel limits, all cars limited to 65% fuel capacity. There is one fast repair, so they can get a new car if things go pear-shaped for a particular driver or any driver. And of course, we have a rolling start. Not like the last league race I was in, folks, where it's supposed to be a rolling start, but we saw no pace car and we had to have a standing start. Hopefully the pace car will be out there in this one. Kevin, the orange zone is in effect today as well. Why don't you tell us what the orange zone means?
I will do that, but first I just want to convert your numbers, your weather numbers, into American money. So 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the air temp. Track is currently about 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind is about 7 miles per hour. So for those of us who can't function with kilometers like me, there you go. And we should say that's not a particularly hot track, so it should be a fair amount of grip there. Okay, the orange zone. This is something that is unique to Champion Motorsports. We here in the booth here at GSRC quite like it, actually. And I'll give you the word-for-word description. The orange zone constitutes the outlined area on the track during a first lap. This zone is regarded as a pass with extreme caution area during the first lap of any race. Should an incident occur because a driver chooses to attempt a pass within this orange zone, the driver initiating the pass will likely be held responsible. So tonight at Brands Hatch, the orange zone is from the start to the exit of turn 4 Surtees. That is the long, tight left-hander after the very tight right-hander hairpin that we see. So when they get onto the big, long straight for the first time, that is when passing will happen willy-nilly, in theory at least. And we like the orange zone because it really seems to cut down on first lap shenanigans, Richard.
Yeah, that's correct. And particularly at this track, turn 1 is very severe. You come around a blind corner and then you go down the hill, then back up the hill into a hairpin. And out of that hairpin, you then go to a very fast left-hander, and then finally another left-hander, which is quite tight at Surtees, then turn number 4. So the orange zone is a good thing, particularly on this track. It suits some tracks more than others, but generally, Kevin is right on the money. We do like it more than it tends to cut down on, as he said, the shenanigans, which can be on lap 1 quite severe at times. Well, Kevin, we've got a little bit of time up our sleeves here. They are out there qualifying at the moment. Elapsed time says on the clock they're 21 minutes out of 25, so presumably quite a few minutes to go. Let's have a look at the cars in a little bit more detail. You are no doubt the expert on these GT3 cars, so tell us about some of the differences between the cars and how it might relate to this track. I know you mentioned that the roofs might have it over the others at this stage, but give us a bit more detail on that.
Well, all right. So the BMW has the engine in front of the driver. The other 3 cars have the engine behind the driver to various degrees. But that is true, fair enough. So let's see. So the BMW, or excuse me, the McLaren has the most horsepower. The Ford GT has the least horsepower, but the McLaren has the smallest motor, and the Ford has the biggest motor. So thank the superchargers for that. The power to weight ratio is all pretty similar on these cars. They're all, as we said, so they've all got balance of performance updates that happen. So they're all a little better here, a little better there. What we do know is the roof probably has the greatest top-end speed. This is a track where that's not really important. The roof also, because it's a rear-engine car, has that engine hanging off the back, tends to get off of corners really well. If you've got a slow-speed corner, it tends to really hook up and get on the power really, really well. So that's going to help them here out of Druid Turn 2. That slow hairpin can be very difficult to complete a pass on a roof there. The McLaren tends to love fast corners. It hates curbs, but it also tends to get a little loose when you start taking the wing out. So you tend to have to kind of compromise the car and run a lot of wing, or excuse me, you want to run very little wing, but then the car gets difficult to handle. At a track like this with a lot of blind fast corners, well, that's difficult. The BMW has got a lot of frontal area, tends to be a little slower on top speed. Well, actually, it's the slowest car on top speed. Tends to be pretty balanced all around, though. It's pretty good at just about everything except for going fast in a straight line. But if the BMW can hook up behind somebody's draft, not a worry. But it does tend to struggle a little bit with getting on the power out of slow corners. So I would expect the BMW to be pretty good here. So again, we kind of come back to me beating that dead horse and saying, hey, if you got a good setup, regardless of what your car is, then I feel more comfortable with that. Yep,
indeed. And of course, as you mentioned, the track is quite tight. The straightaways are quite short, and so there won't be a lot of draft. You might get some on the front stretch, I imagine there, Kevin, but very, very little draft anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the draft is going to come up on the run up from Surtees to Hawthorne. That's the longest straight. You actually get up into 6th gear for a little bit there. You don't anywhere else. But Hawthorne is such a fast corner. It's got a really, really fast entry speed. You do dip down into third gear from that, but it's a shallow, soft braking zone. Most of you scrubbing speed from your cornering. So that's a very difficult place to pass. You got that long straight, but then it's a really fast corner at the end. So you can't really outbrake anybody there. It's very difficult to do. Basically, you have to try and get up alongside somebody and just take away the corner, keep them from being able to turn in. But if you do that, you have to make sure that you still give yourself enough time to turn in. Because if you don't, there's a wall right there on the outside, very, very close for you, and you will hit that sucker. I won't admit to ever having done that before, but you do have to be careful with the entry to Hawthorne.
Well, that brings up an interesting point as well. What are the best, or where are the best places to try and effect the pass here?
Well, I won't be trite and say that it's a racetrack and the entire place is a passing zone. Paddock Hill Bend, so turn one, if you can get a good run out of the last corner Clark curve, which has got that difficult crest in the middle. If you can get a good run out of it, then you might be able to pull up alongside in Paddock Hill Bend and take away the line from somebody. And I think that's the theme at this track. You can't outbrake anybody here because the braking distances are all just much, much too short and generally pretty soft. Mostly it's just about trying to take the line away from somebody. So it's a lot like motorcycle racing where you're just trying to get inside of them and force them off the line. So Paddock Hill, that's a pretty good place to do it. Hawthorne, again, if you can get up alongside them. And then really the only other place is on the run up to Clark, I think, after Sterling's. If you can get a good launch out of Sterling, there's that little bit of a straight, and that's enough time to maybe get on the inside. But then you got that very difficult Clark curve to go up. And if you're side by side, going up to, all the way onto the pit straight, maybe you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, and the only thing I will say to your comment on every corner being a passing zone is that somebody said that to me, and every time he said that, he'll ended up in the wall because he's trying to pass in impossible places. I don't.
Some are more effective than others. That's all I'll say.
I do not subscribe to that particular line of thinking. However, it looks as if qualifying, the checkered flag has come out on the qualifying. There's still a couple of cars on track. I see Robert Tarbox just finishing up a hot lap there. Let's see if he improves his position. Doesn't look as if he did. So, with that being the case, I think we're just about ready to call out the grid right now. The pace car is on track. So, in first place, the fastest qualifier today, Humberto Roca. Miguel El Crudo will fill out the first row. Then we have Tom Rachi and Jason Lundy on the second row. And the third row, Paul Darling, who was fast here, and Sebastian Roca. So that's your top six, Kevin.
Okay, Richard. And seventh is Tim Collier. So I believe he's got the pole position for the Pro-Am class. Eighth is Drew Lidke. Ninth, Robert Tarbox. 10th is Brad Wren. 11th, Darian Bailey, who had a strong debut last round out. 12th, Anthony James is in the All Balls racing car, Richard.
Yeah, and there are only 17 cars showing in the field. So the last few are Jay Friels and Troy Fagan. And in 15th place there, Kyle Heron. Victor Tanaka is showing as being in the race, has not put in any practice time, but certainly got a late qualifying going. He's on track. He's way down in 16th place there, Kevin. And bringing up the rear of the field, also on track, is Rick D. Smith. So the 17 car field, they are all out on track. Strange to see Victor that far back.
Well, we've seen that from him a few times. Just not able to show up right before qualifying, not able to get a lot of practice in the session, but seems to be pretty good overall. So I guess we'll just have to see if this is another one of his poor qualifying performances, or if this is an indicator of his pace tonight.
Yeah. Well, as we mentioned, the pace car is out there. The pace car should take off any minute now. I'm just looking down the straight. Look at Kevin. The track appears to actually be banked. There's a distinct slope I can see from your left driver's left side to the right hand side. That gives them a little bit of banking as they come up this front straight. Now the pace car takes off. Last car to move off is indeed Rick Smith, starting from 17th position. Just behind the pace car, Umberto Roca and Miguel El Crudo. So bear in mind the orange zone, no overtaking unless you're very, very careful about it, Kevin, in lap number 1 until you pass through turn number 4. But just looking there on the pace lap, it seems to me Umberto Roca is in a hurry to get started here.
Well, if you say so. It's a short race. It's only an hour long. I'm going to have to hit that pit stop at some point. We didn't really talk about that, I don't think. We will need to stop. So about 35 minutes is probably about the max that they'll be able to do on a tank of fuel here, since they do have a restricted fuel tank size. Now, the great question that I don't have an answer to is whether or not they'll take tires tonight. Typically, what we see in GT Theory racing is that if the stint... The total time that you need to be out there is an hour or so before the tires start to give up. Anything less than that, you shouldn't really need to change tires. However, at Brands Hatch, it is entirely possible to really bake off the front tires if the car is too tight, or really bake off the rear tires if the car is too loose. So we might see some guys struggling with that and actually decide to change tires. So that's going to be an interesting strategy call tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting to me as well, Kevin, as we are going around some of the final corners. We'll get a start in about 30 seconds from now. But we've got the two roofs up front, Umberto Roca and Miguel El Crudo. And then we've got Puffin Racing, both BMWs on the second row there, Tom Rachi and Jason Lundy, with Tom Rachi just a little bit ahead there. So they're heading now towards turn number 9, Clark Curve. And that is the final turn of this course, and then you will see the pace car duck off into the pits. We have a lot of blinking there from the 111 car of Umberto Roca. Seems to have settled down, getting ready for a start. The green flag should come out at any second. The green flag is out. They are racing at this point in time, and they're heading towards turn number 1. It is Roca. Jason Lundy giving up a spot there to Paul Darling. Is that? Yes, it is Paul Darling. So he moves up a little bit, and that was before the end of the orange zone. He's not fighting it though, Kevin. Is allowing Paul Darling to take that spot from him. Now they go into turn number 3. This is a very, very tight turn. Of course, there's a lot of runoff there as well. You can get pretty wide if you wish to. Now into turn number 4, which is Surtees. After this turn, Kevin, they will be racing for real.
Yeah, and looks like in the back of the field might have had some contact between Rick Smith and Troy Fagan. I'm trying to confirm that and failing miserably, so we'll get back up to the front of the field.
Right, and looks as if Umberto Roca, I mentioned that he was in a hurry to start racing. He's still in a hurry. He's put a nice big gap already on Miguel El Crudo. Tom Rachi was in 3rd place. He has lost that spot now to Paul Darling as well. So Paul Darling on the move. Then we've got Tom Rachi and Jason Lundy. I'm driving here with Jason at the moment, looking down that short straight, heading into turn 9. And they are about to... Go ahead.
Yep, we got a spin in the back. Looks like Anthony James and Jay Friels both involved. Anthony James has damage on his car. Jay Friels looks to be a little bit cleaner, although he did get into the tire well. We're seeing that replay right now, just side-by-side driving into Sterling's. And no, Friels got loose into Sterling's, and that caught Rick Smith out. Or excuse me, Anthony James out. I'll get these names right.
Some great pictures there to make up for that. And there we see, just at the end of the replay, there we have Anthony James and I guess that's Friels involved. They both seem to get going again. Back to the front, Umberto Roca. He's doing what we can only call a disappearing trick here. Miguel El Crudo trying to get on terms with him, not succeeding as they go through that very, very fast right hand. I love that corner. And behind them, of course, Paul Darling, who seems to me to be catching Miguel El Crudo. Paul Darling was very fast in practice, so this is going to be interesting when and if he does catch up to Miguel El Crudo. And then, of course, Tom Rathy. Tom Rathy doing a great job there, Kevin, right on the rear bumper there. Well, not on the rear bumper, but certainly not far off from Paul Darling. So your prediction of the BMWs performing well here is coming true. Jason Lundy in 4th place, just dropping off a little bit there as well.
I've been watching Victor Tanaka. Remember, he started 16th, almost tailing Charlie. He is up to 11th currently. He's right on the back of Darian Bailey, looking to be a little faster than Darian, using the track a little bit better, I think, although they both give the apex of turn 1 a complete miss. We'll try again in turn 2, see if that happens. But no, Tanaka's going to look up on the inside, and Bailey isn't going to fight too hard. He's on the outside, and he's going to have to give it up as Tanaka drives right on by there. Well done, nice pass.
And there was an attempt by Tom Raji to pass Paul Darling into turn number 3. It was unsuccessful because he was forced to turn very, very sharply into the corner, giving Paul Darling some room. He had a little bobble there, but he kept going. And now Jason Lundy looking to take the spot away from his partner, not deciding to back out there. So now Tom Raji has to make up all the distance. He was right next to Paul Darling. Paul Darling managed to get away with that one. Now Tom Raji chasing once again, but Tom Raji is faster today by the looks of it.
Well, to see if he can hold that pace. We've seen him struggle a little bit over the course of a full race length to carry that pace. So let's see if Tom is able to run that tonight. As Tanaka got very, very wide, runs wide out at Sterling. All 4 tires in the grass, manages to keep it together.
Kevin, I'm just a little surprised here. Paul Darling was very fast in the practice, but Miguel El Crudo seems to be getting away from him. That would have a little to do with the fact that he was battling with Tom Raji for about a quarter of a lap. But Miguel El Crudo's got away, and of course the Umberto Roca just smoking them at the moment.
Yeah, Humberto's been so fast in this sprint series, hasn't he, Richard? Just nobody's really been able to challenge him too much.
3 wins out of 3 starts. You can't get better than that. And once again, he is showing why he got those 3 wins. That number 111 car, 3 1s on the car. He's the leader of the pro class.
Here we go. I have a
just
pass attempt. I'm sorry to butt in, but I got Lidke and Tanaka side by side on the front, run up to Hawthorne. Lidke on the inside. He's going to keep that, although he's running wide on exit, dropping almost all 4 wheels. Tanaka's going to try it again into Westfield. That's a very difficult place to do it. And Lidke's going to run out of track. He's onto the grass. So Tanaka's going to take that. Whoa, coming across, shuts the door on Lidke as they go through Dingleville.
Tanaka very, very good through that section of the course. They forced
there's a car
White.
That's Robert Tarbox. Robert Tarbox spinning in out of Sterling's, hitting the wall.
Yes, indeed. The amateur class. I think he's in second. He was in second place in class behind Tim Collier. Now he's lost that position. A couple of cars past him. So his BMW is back on the move again. Very good to see that he's back in the race. He might have a bit of damage there, but he's lost a few positions. Now let's get back to Victor Tanaka. I was watching Victor, very fast indeed, on the move like you wouldn't believe. And let's see if I can get some times, put the gun on these guys and see what they've got. So Victor Tanaka last time by 1-2. No, we haven't got a time for him right now. Hang on, I'll get to that. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, I was just trying to hunt this down. Yeah, so I had seen just out of the corner of my eye after the Tarbuck spin, a spinning car behind him, and that was Rick Smith. Did a 360 out of Sterling's, backed it into the wall. Jay Friels had to, Jay Friels had to get to the grass to avoid Rick Smith. So Sterling's biting people left and right so far.
All right, now I've got the times up here. So last time by, the Victor Tanaka did a 126. But Umberto Roca, my goodness, a 123.998. So he's not even close at this point in time, 2 seconds slower. That is, of course, he was in battles, but he is moving forward. Let's see what he gets now as they cross the line. Victor Tanaka just going across the line as we speak. And the last lap for Victor Tanaka, they're 125.0, so he has improved a fair bit. Now he's got in his sights there, Kevin. He has got, where's my mouse? This is Sim Racing. I need a mouse. Tim Collier in front of him right now. So can he make a move on Tim Collier? He's looking very aggressive. Is Victor Tanaka, and good on him.
And right now, Rachi is just all over the back of Paul Darling. They're both kind of struggling a little bit, but Darling gets the better run out of Surtees, and Rachi's going to have to fight again. But man, Rachi was all over the back of Darling as they ran into Druids. And look, you can see Rachi closing up very well under Hawthorne. So it looks like these guys are definitely better at different corners, as again, Rachi having to check up a little bit to keep from clocking Darling at the apex of Westfield. So these guys have a fight to going right now, and Jason Lundy's just sitting back behind them, probably hoping that they don't get into each other and take him out at the same time.
Yeah, and back to the battle here with Tanaka versus Tim Collier. He is right on the rear end. They're heading down towards Clark Curve now, the final corner, turn number 9. Let's see what he can do here. He's right behind the McLaren. He has to check up a little bit. McLaren very fast into the corner. What sort of speed does he have on exit? He's slower than Tanaka. Here comes Tanaka on the inside. Now he falls back into line, deciding that this is not the right time to try and make that pass. Now he's on the outside. Kevin, they side by side heading into the hairpin. This is going to be interesting. Still side by side. Tanaka backing it out a little bit. There's a little touch between the two cars. Tanaka loses out to Tim Collier in the McLaren right there.
I don't know. I don't think we are able to see it on screen, but Rachi and Darling just side by side, really through Druids and Sterling as well, or excuse me, Surtees as well. And Darling was able to take advantage of that. Rachi lost some ground. Now he's got his teammate Jason Lundy pretty close behind him. As Rachi taking a miss on Hawthorne. These guys are really struggling with hitting the apex tonight, Richard.
And Kevin, I've got to get back to this Tim Collier battle with Tanaka. Tanaka's just gone past. Victor has made the pass. They were side by side for about a lap and a half. And finally, Tim Collier said, well, this guy is not in the same class with me. Why am I battling so hard with him? I'll give him the spot. And he's given it up. But for quite a while, that was a very, very fierce battle with Tim Collier right in it.
So Tanaka up to 7th, starting 16th. So Tanaka having a very good run tonight.
Fantastic run. All right, well, let's go and have a look at the standings right now. So Umberto Roca, he is in first place, and he has got a 5-second gap that was last time by the line on Miguel El Crudo. Third place, still Paul Darling, fighting off Tom Rachi, who's come close at times to trying to make an overtaking maneuver, but not succeeding. Paul Darling very strong. Now Paul Darling, Kevin has just made a mistake once again. Here comes Tom Rachi. They are heading up this little downhill, then uphill into the fast right-hander there. Love this corner. He's right on the rear bumper now of Paul Darling. What can he do? Looks like he's fallen back into line. Here he comes again.
Yeah, looks like Paul Darling taking a later turn in into Hawthorne than Tom Rachi is, which means Rachi really has to check up in the middle of the corner, otherwise he's close to hitting the back of Darling. I'm not sure that's going to work out for him. He probably needs to go in a little deeper, turn in a little later, and try and scrub speed, although of course that setup could prevent him from doing that. But yeah, Rachi, he's very quick on the approach to Hawthorne, but just not able to do it. And you can see how much time he's losing in the last half of the track to Paul Darling as Darling pulls out several more car lengths. And as soon as they get up to turn 1 and turn 2, Rachi starts closing up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As you can see right now, he's closing up once again on Paul Darling as they go into the hairpin there at Druids. They come out of the hairpin. Paul Darling a little better, coming out of the hairpin into turn number 3. Now this is where he really closes up. Can he get on the inside? He's not close enough at this stage as they go down to turn number 3. Turn number 3 and 4, which of course this is Surtees. Now this is the area where he can make a move if he is close enough, but this lap is not close enough.
Yeah, not by a long shot. You can see just way too far away. And this time Rachi does take him a later turn in, but he's still a little too early on his turn-in point. He's tracking out just too soon, and I think he might be having to chop his throttle a little bit to make sure he doesn't go off the track. So Rachi, if he wants to make this happen, I really want to see him getting into the entry of Hawthorne, make his turn-in a little later than what he's doing.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at the gap between Miguel El Crudo in second place and Paul Darling. seems to be coming down. Last time it was about 2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds. Let's check it now when they go past the line, which they are just doing as we speak. And 7.5 to 9.5 is down to 2 seconds. So yes, he is catching Miguel El Crudo, and he did so by half a second that lap just passed.
Boy, yeah, Miguel El Crudo, Paul Darling. Well, and now Darling loses a couple tenths quickly in the first half of this track. But man, Humberto Roca is he's flying out there. He's still running 23s, Richard, and nobody, well, there's a few guys in the 24s, but everybody else is minimum half a second to a second a lap slower than Humberto right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that Miguel El Crudo, whilst he did do a 23.8 in practice, he is his fastest lap at the moment with full fuel, etc. It was 124.6, but Humberto Roca 123.7 was his fastest. He's still doing a 123.9 just at the last lap. Meanwhile, back here, Tom Raji now closer enough again to maybe start to make a move once again on Darling. Darling closing the gap to Miguel El Crudo. This, Kevin, is going to become very interesting very soon.
Well, I keep thinking that, and yet nothing really seems to be happening. Whoa!
Yeah.
I think we both saw Tom Ratchey drop that left rear into the grass on the exit of Clark and nearly loop it. Nice save by him. His teammate Jason Lundy declining the attempt to move onto the inside of turn 1. Probably a nice thing there by Jason Lundy to not force the issue there.
Well, you know, when you see this type of thing, if I was Jason Lundy, I would be doing exactly what Jason Lundy is doing. Sit back and watch the fun. Couple of places to be picked up there if things go pear-shaped for either Paul Darling and teammate Tom Rachi, or both of them. But at this stage, they still well and truly in line. So let's go and find ourselves a battle. What is Victor Tanaka doing at this stage? Not that much. Tim Collier well and truly dropped off there. Let's go further back. Let's have a look at Darian Bailey, who put such a good run in last time. He is following, who's he following? Brad Wren in the McLaren. Is he getting any closer? Can he do anything to improve his position? Let us just watch this for a little while.
Yep, they've been separated by about a second for the last few laps that I've noticed, as well as Tim Collier and Drew Lidke also have been separated by about a second for the last several laps. So again, we're seeing between these different cars, places where they're stronger, where they're weaker, as Darian drops a couple wheels on the exit of Dingledale. Very easy to do with that blind uphill corner. You're braking long before you can see the turn-in and the apex. Very difficult to get the line right there.
Oh, Sebastian Roca, sorry, off track. Something's going on there. Oh, he's coming into the pits.
No, Richard, something very funny happened. He, I think he spun and he hit the wall on the entry to pit lane. I think he got on the power too aggressively coming out of Clark and just had a power on oversteer spin. Either that or he had a very strange decision to come in late to pit lane. But the net result is he hit the side of that wall hard and limping into pit lane.
Yeah, he certainly did. And now he's managed to get to his pit stall. He will have to take his new car. He's also doing a pit stop now. Why not? Getting some tires. By the looks of it, the car's up on the jacks. So yeah, he had a bit of a problem there. Meanwhile, Carl Heron is stationary. Woo! Kevin, have a look at Carl Heron.
Yeah, oh boy, he got some big damage, didn't he, Richard?
Yes, sir. I can't see a hood on his car at all anymore. He's still trying to back the car onto the track and get it straightened out to get going again. That is not very good for Carl Heron. He'll be heading into the pits if he can get around and make it.
Yeah, so I'm watching that replay right now as we watch the onboard, and a very strange incident. You can, there's a lot of track there to the outside. You could actually go past the red and white curbing onto that green crosshatch asphalt, and there's lots of grip there. But he started his spin before he got there.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure why. Maybe he was just too aggressive on the throttle. But, Richard, these guys have, these cars all have traction control on them, and you can get into the traction control pretty hard before you let it go. So I'm wondering if these guys just aren't using enough traction control. If they aren't, boy, you just got to kick yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's very, very, very strange what happened there because, as you said, he was actually spinning before he actually turned into the corner. So, unfortunate for him, but let's see if he heads into the pits. One would imagine that he will do so. And of course, I'm proved wrong. He stays out at this point in time. So, let's get back. Victor Tanaka now up to 6th position. Just behind, well, not just behind, but he's now behind Jason Lundy. And guys, Jason and Tom Raji, I think Tom's run out of steam there, Kevin. Jason's right behind him now. Maybe they will decide to swap positions and let Jason try and attack Paul Darling. But Paul Darling has pulled away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to catch up now, and I'm not really seeing anything that Ratchet did to cause him losing so much ground, other than looks like Paul Darling has figured it out, and Ratchet hasn't been able to respond.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think Kyle very good in the opening stages of the race. Mind you, they have done 14 laps already, and 23 minutes have elapsed. So you said the window was somewhere around 35 minutes. So they'll be thinking at this stage about their pit stops, because with 12 minutes to go, they will have got the 5-lap warning by now from their spotters, and they will just start thinking about what they're going to do during their pit stops, I believe.
Well, hopefully they figured that out beforehand and aren't trying to do a last-second pit stop strategy. It never seems to fare well when you try to do it that way. But yeah, right now the closest battle on track is not really a battle, because it's between two teammates, Tom Ratchet and Jason Lundy. Ratchet with a much more interesting paint scheme, in my opinion, than Jason Lundy. Jason using that more classic Golf-style paint scheme. But a couple of good-looking BMWs out there on the same team. But let's talk about who's looking really well right now. Humberto Roca, 10.5 seconds to the good. That's almost a second a lap, Richard. Well, it's about 3/4 a second a lap.
Yeah, let's face it, he is just masterful in this car. And bear in mind, folks, he switched from what was he in before? Was he in a BMW before? Yeah, but for this season, he switched to the roof, and he's made that thing work for him, hasn't he, Kevin? Whoa, a little bit of a bobble there.
Yeah, Humberto, he seems to really love this roof. I think he was in a McLaren before, or Ford GT. Maybe it was a BMW. Well, it was one of the 4 cars, anyhow. But another battle we got going on track is between a couple of sister teammates, Miguel Alcrudo in the Magno Autosport Spider, Paul Darling in the Magno Autosports. Very similar paint schemes on these two cars. Miguel Alcrudo has the gray, Darling has the gold, yellow, mustard color, if you will. I suddenly feel like I'm on one of Bill Zahn's paint reviews here. But Darling has closed within about a second of Miguel Alcrudo. So it seems like Paul Darling, his car not so good at the start of the race, but much better in the middle section, Richard.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well. Obviously, he's gone for a slightly different setup, I would imagine. Perhaps more downforce, and it's starting to work now for him as the tires wear down. Another battle we need to be looking at here, Kevin, keep an eye on Darling there, is Drew Lidke. Is starting to catch Tim Collier just in front of him there. And in fact, he's quite close now, and they go to complete another lap, which will be lap 15 for these cars. And he was a lot further back than he is now, let me tell you, and just slowly closing that gap. So we'll see a battle here in the not too distant future. But back to you and Darling versus Miguel Alcrudo.
Well, I gotta admit, I switched to Brad Wren and Darian Bailey because you might remember earlier I was talking about how Wren and Bailey were only about a second apart. Well, now it's about 6 seconds apart as my timing and scoring goes completely wonky. Okay, it looks like things are starting to get sorted out, but Wren and Bailey are about 6 seconds apart on track. And looks like Bailey's just been struggling. Brad Wren has been consistent the last few laps, so has able to pull it apart. But yeah, Paul Darling and Miguel Alcrudo, to go back to your question, still running second and third, still about 1 second apart as well, just a couple of ticks over that. So Paul Darling, it looks like he's a little bit faster overall than Miguel Alcrudo right now. But I'm not really sure if these guys are going to fight or how hard they will fight.
Well, that's right. I just wanted to make mention here that it looks like we have one retirement from the race, and that is Rick Smith, not showing on track or in the sim at all at the moment. But certainly, Kevin, getting back to the battle here, Darling versus El Crudo is very close now. They go into the hairpin there, and it closes up visibly. So, well, you know, these are teammates, I believe, so they're not going to be anxious to take each other out or battle too hard. But certainly, El Crudo is being caught by Darling, and Darling will want to get ahead of him now. Going to turn number 3 there. Darling very good through here. Well, look, he just gets the and he puts a couple of wheels off there, so that's not going to help his cause, but still he's closing, and it looks as if El Crudo going a little bit defensive there, Kevin. Now he's right up.
Boy, yeah, he is, and this is a good chance here. If there are team orders of some sort, maybe this is a good time for Paul Darling to just go ahead and make his pit stop. If he can make it to the end, we're kind of there's about 36 minutes left to go. This might be a little too soon to jump in, but trying to make the stop as there goes El Crudo.
El Crudo spun it, going into that very fast left-hander now. And that turn is slightly banked, Kevin. But still, you have to be careful. He just carried way too much speed there.
Yeah, I think he tried to carry too much speed in and too late. There is quite a bit of banking, but you really have to be on the power pretty early on in that corner. Get your turn in and your braking done very early, and then get back to power, because otherwise that's the result. You could spin. You really want to get the rear end loaded on that car early so that you can make sure it's pointed in the right direction. So this makes it a lot easier for Paul Darling to get around Miguel El Crudo. El Crudo's going to spin for him.
Yeah, and we have a battle on screen here. It's Jason Lundy. Let's get on to Jason Lundy. And it's, who is he back? That's his teammate, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Tom Ratchey. So they've just closed up a little bit more than they have been. So now we see if Lundy's actually going to do something, as Ratchey's very defensive on the run down to Hawthorne.
Nah, he gives it up there. He gave it up pretty tamely there. He was on the inside as if he was going to defend, and then Lundy just charged on the outside there, and he gave it up. So Lundy now moves up one place. That will put him on the podium. At this early stage, we best just call it third place. And Tom Ratchey moves off the podium into fourth place right now. Miguel El Crudo, meanwhile, lost the 2 places, and both Ratchey and Lundy passed him. So Miguel El Crudo still there. Not sure. I didn't follow through on that, Kevin. Did he get any damage from that? Did he hit anything?
El Crudo? No, not that I could see. Looks like he kept the car clean.
All right, so he is back in it again, but of course he's lost a lot of time. Behind him, let's see what is the gap between Victor Tanaka and El Crudo. Now still a very big gap, about 5 seconds last time by. So Tanaka doing a great job, I must say, up to 6th position. While he's been in that position for a little while, but the pit stops might bring him a little closer. I just wish he'd qualified better, because he certainly would have taken it to the others there. He's doing a great job.
Now I want to go back to Lundy and Ratchey swapping positions. That's nothing unusual for these guys. We have seen them before running nose to tail and swapping up positions when they think that the trailing car is faster than the lead car. We have seen that many times from them before, so nothing unusual here at all. But we need to go to Lidke and Collier as they are side by side. Not sure what happened to Tim Collier to suddenly get slowed up, but Lidke has taken the position on the run to Hawthorne.
Good run. We'll get a replay of that as well. But certainly Lidke was threatening for quite a while. As you can see, they come out of turn number 3 there. A little wide there by the looks of it for Collier, and straight through goes who's that? Lidke.
Lidke in the orange car. So these guys, Drew Lidke and Tim Collier, are teammates. They're both on Can-Am Racing. Lidke in the Pro class, Tim Collier in the Pro-Am class. Collier in that blue McLaren, and Lidke in the orange one. So I wonder if that was a little bit of teammate helping out teammate there as well. Maybe Collier was saying, you know what, I'm getting caught by my teammate. I'm a little bit slower, and whoops, I just made a big mistake. Maybe I'll just let him by.
Yeah, quite possible. That's what you would do if it was your teammate. Now, I'm interested, Brad Wren is just behind them. So Brad Wren is in this equation as well. The color scheme that he's got looks kind of similar, although it's a different color. Is he a teammate as well?
He is part of that Can-Am faction, so yeah, you called it.
Yeah. Well, he's so they're running 3 in a row now. So hopefully, you can't really work together. There's no draft to speak of here. So each one is out there fighting for his own little battle with the track, and I guess may the best one win. So
Paul Darling has fun. Paul Darling has
Paul Darling.
fun. And looks like
he's
he
still off track.
dropped the wheels out of... Oh, he hit the wall hard, Richard. Yeah, he dropped some wheels on the exit of Dingledell, which is so easy to do. And spun it around to the inside wall, hit that wall hard.
Yeah, all those corners, Hawthorne, Westfield, Dingledell, and the last one, which is Sheen Curve, after Barry Sheen. I have to say those are tough corners. They're very fast. They're thrilling corners to take, but if you get it wrong, you're going to be out in the weeds very, very quick, and the wall is not that far away.
Well, and to add insult to injury, you saw Paul Darling miss his pit box, have to back it up. Boy, it has gone just pear-shaped for the Magno Autosports duo of Darling and El Crudo right now. The only Magno car having any luck is Humberto Roca, and this ain't luck. This is skill, as he has got a 20-second gap on the field right now.
Yeah, I hate to see that. Paul Darling is just taking some tires as well. A bit strange, something I'm not understanding here, Kevin. If they grab a new car, doesn't that give them tires and everything?
No, it doesn't. It used to, I believe, but I think they changed it when they updated all the damage model stuff.
Okay, so he's sitting taking tires. He's still sitting there, obviously filling up with fuel. He's in the pit window, so that should be okay for him. 34 minutes gone in this race, which means something like 25-26 minutes left.
No,
so
you're looking at the wrong timing again. It's 30 minutes right now. Yeah, 29:58.
Okay. I wish that iRacing would get this sorted out. They never have the right time. They include the time the pace car has taken. So you've always got to take that off and add some time, etc. It's just a pain in the derriere. But
Miguel El Crudo has stopped as well. So I don't think this is going to be too bad for Paul Darling. He lost some time due to the spin and limping back to pit lane. But I think, with it happening right on the halfway point of the race, he's able to get his stop in the normal pit window, so he won't get penalized or get that time penalty for missing a stop, having to come back in, or I should say having an extra stop. So Darling may be able to do something about this. A podium may be too much, but he should maybe be able to fight back for top 5.
Yeah. Meanwhile, having a look here at Victor Tanaka, I think...
Except, Richard, I'm going to jump in. Sorry, I have to immediately correct myself. Paul Darling has retired.
Paul Darling has indeed retired. He's decided that the car has too much damage, or he must have, which is a bit strange. From what I'm seeing, that was his first pit stop. He should have been able to get a new car. I'm not sure what's happened there, Kevin.
I'm getting the sense that was, in gaming parlance, a rage quit. Probably a little frustrated and decided that he just didn't want to come back and finish this out.
Yeah, which is a little unfortunate, but it does happen. In a series that I run, we have one person who will remain unnamed, who is quite famous for rage quitting. However, let's get back to the racing here. Victor Tanaka, apart from Humberto Roca, I have got to hand some big raps onto Victor Tanaka here, Kevin. He's just driven so far a perfect race, and he's moved himself up into 4th position behind Jason Lundy and Tom Ratchey, and of course Humberto Roca, who's done the old disappearing trick once again.
Yeah, Tanaka having a great run again. What would have happened if he had started from a better qualifying position? Well, I guess
Definitely.
we'll just never know the answer to that question. So let's get back. Jason Lundy, Tom Ratchey, checking in on them. It's about a 2.5 second gap, so Jason Lundy is definitely the quicker car on track compared to his teammate Tom Ratchey. That's something we've seen before, that Lundy seems to get stronger as the race goes on, as they pass, I believe, one of the Can-Am cars going into pit lane. I'm not entirely sure who that was. Troy Fagan, I think, actually it was, who was not a Can-Am car. So I'm on a roll right here.
Yeah, Troy Fagan is in his pit stall, so maybe it wasn't him. But I've been trying to figure out when Victor Tanaka is going to go into the pits. He has not pitted yet. He's doing another lap and going through turn number 2 right now. Also, Jason Lundy and Tom Rathy out there. Tom Rathy now dropping off from Jason Lundy quite significantly. So he's kind of, you said it earlier on, Jason's got stronger. And who is that ahead of Jason Lundy? That's Robert Tarbox, not for position once he does catch up to him. So this is not a battle. But certainly Jason Lundy now looking quite strong there, Kevin.
Yeah, he is. Got a long ways to go to make up any ground, though, so I don't know if we'll see anything there. Although, once again, we kind of put battles to bed in this series early on in the race, and then that comes back to bite us as things always open up at the end of the racing here in Champion Motorsports. We see that every single race.
Well, that's right. Well, folks, in the absence of any battles right now, let's put the camera's director on our leader, Umberto Roca, and let's just go on board with him and watch him circumvent this track. He's just so good at it, and hopefully I haven't put a curse on him right now. And he's going to show us what he can do. And he goes now into that long straightaway into the right-hander here at Hawthorne. He gets nice and close. Well, that wasn't quite that close, but he doesn't need it. He tracks out perfectly. Gets into Westfield and Dingledale. Now, this part of the course here, which is Sheen Curve, this is very tricky, this corner. Now you got to get all the way over to the right, dip down in there, get close onto the ripple strip, and then just power the car out of it using the banking. Now into Clark Curve, right-hander, where you have to be a little careful as to when you bring the power on. But once you got the power on, you stay on the power and head over the start-finish line to start another lap. This guy has just done what I would consider a very, very good lap. 1 minute 24.4 after more than half the race, Kevin.
So, while you were talking there, Richard, Brad Wren came back into the pit lane. He had stopped and then came back in immediately on his next lap and sat there for several seconds. So my guess is that he got a black flag for speeding in pit lane. Unfortunately, this is not information that is shared with us. It's only shared with the driver, so we don't know if that's correct. Really, the only other option that makes sense is if he didn't put in the correct amount of fuel or didn't take tires and decided that he wanted tires. So any one of those three things, not a great result for Brad Wren at the moment.
Yeah, well, that does happen. It's so easy to overshoot the pit speed. But these cars have limiters, don't they? They should be able to use their limiters. Meanwhile, I'm watching here. I'm going to go back to Tom Rathy, Jason Lundy. Tom Rathy looks like he's just put a little bit, he's gained a little time again. The car in front of him is not for position, by the way. That is Robert Tarbox Jr. Robert Tarbox running second in class at the moment behind Tim Collier. But this is not a position battle. So they will no doubt take no unnecessary risks here, Kevin, in trying to pass Robert Tarbox.
To go back to your point about the pit lane limiter, yes, these cars do have it, but the limiter does not slow you down. It just prevents you from going faster than that. So you have to slow down to below the pit speed limit, as we see Ratchet doing this right now. So he's going to slow down below 45 miles an hour, then engage that pit speed limiter, and then he won't be able to accelerate past it in pit lane. And you can see it's a very short pit entry, so maybe that's what Brad Wren did. Just came in a little too hot, wasn't able to slow down quickly enough in time. As Ratchy, very slow to creep into his box, probably a little confused there. Does take the fast reset. I see his left rear fender got popped back into place, so he's going to have a fresh car. He had a little bit of damage on the front end of his car as well, so he's getting that all sorted out.
Yeah, and with him having done his pit stop there, it looks like and out he comes. So he's taken obviously a top up of fuel. Doesn't look like he's taken any tires. So everyone else I've seen in the pit so far, the ones that I have looked at, Kevin, they have. Whoa! What happened there to Lundy? Lundy went really
Kyle Herring.
wide.
Kyle Herring, his teammate Kyle Herring. Sorry.
Kyle Herring. I forget there are 3 of them there. They all have exactly the same paint scheme as you would expect. But that looked a bit hairy. He was way out on the sand there, and let me tell you, you can get away with that. Turn 1 is quite forgiving, Kevin, when you go wide then.
Yeah, which is fortunate that iRacing has made, in this case, it's fortunate that iRacing has made the sand much different than in real life. In real life, that car probably would have been beached out there, and we'd had to go under yellow as they dug out the bulldozers to yank that thing out of there. But Kyle Herring was able to keep the car pointed in a straight line and get back on track and only lose a couple of seconds earlier.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. When you hit a sand trap, you're supposed to stop. That's the idea of a sand trap. It's to trap the car from hitting anything. But certainly once you get in there, you're not supposed to be able to get out that easily. Anyway, back to the action. Mind you, Kevin, let's be quite candid about it. There's not a lot of battles going on at this point in time. Humberto Roca continues to lead, has not made a pit stop yet, as a few of them haven't made their pit stop yet as well. Jason Lundy currently running in second place, no pit stop at this point in time. Victor Tanaka now in third place, hasn't made his pit stop yet, so that may well change. And we're getting some information. Is that Roca coming into the pits? Yes, it is. So this will be his pit stop. Let's see what he does here. Does he take tires? Always interesting to see what the leader does.
So it's going to be about 15 seconds to fill up that restricted fuel tank, and then we will see whether or not he goes up on the jacks to replace those tires. I kind of think that they're not going to. I'm not seeing long stops from anybody else, but no, he goes up in the air. He is going to take tires, so this is going to be about a 30-second stop overall. It's going to be a lot longer than what Tom Ratchey took. But Tom Ratchey only took fuel, did not take tires. So Humberto Roca, he might be sitting on the back foot here.
Well, he's taken tires, certainly. He's coming out of the pits right now, heading into turn number 1. That you can do that, Kevin, when you've got the luxury of a large lead. So he had something like, 20 seconds, 22 seconds. So he might be sitting a little way back, depending on what Mr. Lundy is going to do. So this does become quite interesting. And you said it earlier, the race is never done until it is completely over. And the large lady is in fact singing.
Yeah, my basic arithmetic skills are pretty terrible. So yeah, Humberto Roca should be a couple of seconds in front of, assuming Jason Lundy does not take tires, Humberto should be a couple of seconds in front of Lundy when Lundy comes back out. Roca definitely has a gap on Tom Ratchey. It's about 22 seconds. So yeah, I think this probably was a smart plan by Humberto. He had a big enough gap. Go ahead and take those tires, make sure you got some nice fresh sticky rubber that you can use out there. Now you can be nice and consistent and clean for the rest of the race, not throw it away in any way, shape, or form. So Humberto Roca, he does have Lundy and Tanaka in front of them, but both of those guys need to stop. They're the last 2 drivers on track who have not stopped, and looks like Tanaka's coming in now. Yes, indeed he is. So Jason Lundy is the only car out on track who has not stopped.
Yeah, smart move as well. When you've got such a large lead, why not take the fresh rubber? He's been consistently a second or so faster than anyone else on track. So even if he does have to make up a gap of a second or 2, I think that is well within his reach. He's shown that he is just superb with this car.
Now let's go to 11th to 12th, Anthony James and Brad Wren. Wren has been catching James. Remember, Brad Wren had an extra pit stop that I recorded about a few laps ago, and since then has been quicker than Anthony James and has been slowly catching him. You can see they are just a little bit under a second a lap second apart right now. So I think Ren's going to be able to do this, but we've seen Anthony James not always the easiest car to pass. So Ren is not probably going to have this handed to him. He's probably going to have to fight for this.
Yeah, but this is developing into a battle right here. They go into turn number 3. Now they head firstly uphill, and then they'll go under the bridge and head downhill once again. And the fast right-hander at Hawthorne, and he's quite close. He's got a nice tight line into there, much better, I would imagine, than Anthony James did. Now through the right-hander into Dingle Dell they go. Up into Sheen Curve, and he's right on the rear end. Will he make it happen on the run down to Clark Curve? Let's have a look. He gets not such a good exit there out of Sterling's.
Keep reporting on that, Richard. I'm watching Tanaka and Ratchie are close together. Lundy has stopped as well, so keep an eye on that one, please.
I will certainly do that. Just fallen back a little bit has Brad Wren. They cross the line now for in lap number 30 and head into turn number 1 once again. You've got Anthony James going wide, Brad Wren keeping a nice tight line. Now they go into turn number 2, the hairpin. He's very, very close at this stage. He heads towards the inside. Will he try and make a move here? He's going to try, but Anthony James just shoots the car like a bullet through turn number 3, and he loses the opportunity to do anything there. Now they go into Surtees. Once again, he's got a nice tight line, much tighter, but he has a little bobble, and Anthony James gets away with it once again. Good racing, Anthony.
And right behind them is the Ratchie-Tanaka battle. They are side by side as Tanaka is on driver's left. Ratchie's going to have the preferred line into Hawthorne, and both going very, very deep as Ren spins and puts it into the wall and flips it.
Oh dear. That is, that's just terrible. I hate to see that. And there was contact between Ratchie and Tanaka as well. Ratchie really trying to push to take that position to take the position from Tanaka, but couldn't make it happen there. So we'll have to have a look at the replay on poor old Brad Wren.
Yeah, it looks like Brad just tried to carry too much speed and into the corner. Up onto the wall. Boy, big hit, and I'm watching him. He's crabbing that car now, trying to limp back to pit lane. Nearly spins it in front of his teammate, Drew Lidke. Ren struggling really, really badly here. That car is all kinds of banged up, so I guess he's assuming he does not use his reset yet, and we'll get in there and try to get that. So let's get back to the battle for 2, 3, 4. Tanaka, Ratchie, and Lundy. They have that all-balls car of Anthony James in the middle there as Tanaka is spinning out of turn 3. Graham Hill loops it, cuts it back off. And how Tanaka kept it off the wall or out of the other cars, I don't know, Richard.
Yeah, Tanaka just too hot there into Graham Hill Bend and lost the car. Didn't hit anything at this stage, but he's lost a pile of time. And Victor Tanaka now has it all to do. Tom Ratchie moves into second position behind Umberto Rocca. Everybody's done their pit stops. It's a run to the flag now with, according to my timing, 50 minutes gone in the race. Remaining time is possibly the better time to look at. There's 14 minutes on the clock as far as my timing and scoring is telling me right now. Umberto Rocca doing it easy, has a 27 second lead, 28 seconds over Tom Ratchie, but is suddenly blinking out quite a bit there, Kevin. This is not good news for him.
Yeah, I hope that's just temporary. Seems like maybe it got fixed. Not seeing him blink. So what I wanted to talk about was Jason Lundy. His pit stop was 27 seconds, which says to me that he took tires. I did not see him on my screen go up in the air on the jacks to change that. Unfortunately, iRacing does lie to us sometimes, does not tell us whether or not the car actually goes up on the jacks, and that is our only way to tell if these cars have gotten tires or not. Again, this is not information that iRacing gives to us, which we as broadcasters would love very, very much. But Jason Lundy, about a second and a half behind Tom Ratchie, but not too far on Lundy's heels is Miguel Alcrudo, only a second behind. Miguel having a great catch-up run after his earlier spin.
Yeah, and we haven't spoken about Miguel for quite some time. and it looks as if Miguel is catching the two in front of him, the teammates of Jason Lundy and Tom Rache, and these are the two cars, both from the same team, the Puffin Racing team, running second and third at the moment. Miguel El Crudo has an opportunity with the time running out to get onto the podium. Let's see if he can do it, Kevin. I want to say he may be able to get at least one of those spots.
Yep, that possibility exists. Maybe get both of them. But we have seen stranger things happen at the end of races in Championship Motorsports. So I don't, or Champion Motorsports, excuse me. So I don't want to curse anybody. I think I laid down quite a few commentators' curses in the last round. So I'm trying not to do that tonight.
Yeah, the last round, everybody you spoke about crashed, I believe.
Wasn't my fault. I swear.
All right, back to the battles. Jason Lundy trying to get second position, of course. His teammate in front of him, he goes and takes the position. Looks like Tom Rache does have some damage on the left front of his car there, Kevin. He gave that up because certainly no good battling when you're on the outside and your teammate, for one, is carrying more speed than you, and secondly, you've got damage on your car. So he's given that up, and now Jason Lundy moves into second position. But here comes Miguel El Crudo, Kevin. He is right on them now, right on Tom Rache. He wants that position, and he's trying to get the inside line. Now he brakes. He has to brake a bit harder because Tom Rache was slow into that corner. He gets the line right there. Tom Rache goes defensive, and here comes Miguel on the run down to Clark Curve on the outside.
I'm absolutely certain Rache is on old tires, Lundy and El Crudo on fresher tires. Look at the way El Crudo is just all over Rache, trying to get around him everywhere, looking left, looking right. Now he's looking on the outside, on the pit straight. This is a tough place to do it, on the outside of turn one. And Rache going very deep. They make contact, they touch. Both of them, though, still continue, no spinning. Oh, that was a good save, no wrecking there.
Yeah, and it is possible if you kind of clash with door handle to door handle, but as long as it's just side by side racing and a little touch, it's fine. Here goes Miguel El Crudo once again on the outside. I think he's got it done now. No, Rache comes back at him. More contact there. Rache loses out, and Rache hits the is hit by Tanaka there. Get this on replay. This is a big wreck for two cars.
Oh boy, El Crudo's spin coming back into Rache. The contact saved El Crudo and ruined Rache and Tanaka. Boy, that was hard fighting that just went absolutely the wrong way. There was nothing Tanaka could do as Rache just kind of shot across the track from the left to the right. Tanaka was just in the wrong place there.
Yeah, just looking at the replay right now, they're both going side by side into turn 3 there. Here comes Tanaka on the rear. Tom Rache touches. He spins out, going left at this point in time. Comes back, crosses over the track right in front of Tanaka. Takes Tanaka out and kills himself in the process.
Figuratively, I assume, not literally.
Figuratively.
Well, there might be some harsh words between El Crudo and Rache after the race. Not sure. Definitely some hard racing.
El Crudo kept going though.
Yeah. No, I just mean between the two of them, because definitely I'm morally certain that Rache was on old tires, El Crudo not. But the end result is El Crudo is about 5 seconds behind Jason Lundy, who is in second, who's about 35 seconds behind Humberto Roca. Rache and Tanaka both in pit lane. They took tires. They are going to lose many positions. How many is yet to be seen. In fourth place is Drew Lidke. He's had a very quiet race, but has managed to work his way up into fourth. And a little bit distant behind him is his teammate Tim Collier in fifth. Robert Tarbox, I believe, is a lap down in sixth.
Yeah, that's correct. Robert Tarbox is showing as a lap down. Robert Tarbox is, in fact, let's see, the gap between Robert Tarbox and the leader is 1 minute and 28 seconds. So Kevin, here's a question for you as a driver. You're on old tires. You see a guy coming up. You're not quite sure whether he's on new tires or not, but he looks faster than you. Do you give it up, or do you battle down to the last, opportunity, as we saw Tom Rache do there? Personally, I would give it up. The guy has come down on me very fast. It looks like he's fast. I'm going to give it up and see what he does in front of me and try and keep with him from behind.
Yeah, I hear you, and I can't argue against it. Ratchy was sitting in third spot, so that was a podium position up there. My style tends to be go defensive, make the car wide, but don't really fight it too much. So Ratchy kind of squared off a couple of corners that I don't think I would have done, but that's just down to different personalities, I think. So I'm not going to fault Ratchy at all there for fighting. It was certainly within his rights. It's his position. He doesn't have to give it away.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm just getting an opinion on how hard do you battle when you can see the guy behind you is faster. First of all, he's caught you from way back, etc. But each to his own. Jason Lundy, the other teammate, now sitting in second position. Very handy position for Jason. Umberto Roca now a total of 33 seconds in front of second place, Kevin. That is just a whitewash, isn't it?
It is, and we report Tom Ratchy has retired from the race. Victor Tanaka has resumed, but Tanaka is in ninth position, and he is, I believe, 2 laps down on the leader. We'll get that cleared up the next time he comes through. But
yeah,
it's only 1 lap down on the leader.
Well, let's put the podium into perspective here. Umberto Roca started in first position and is currently leading the race. Jason Lundy started from 4th position, Kevin, and he is up to 2nd place. So, oh dear, Lundy has spun, Kevin. That's what we're seeing. And Miguel El Crudo out into the cones as well.
And I'm trying to see if Lundy made contact with the wall. I think he just touched it. And yeah, it looks like Al Crudo trying to ensure he had enough room out into the cones, but no
Lundy
problem for
stopped.
Al Crudo. He's resumed.
Lundy has stopped. He's taken the tow. He's now back in the pits waiting for the tow truck to bring him round. So he will lose that 2nd position. Miguel El Crudo, who started in 2nd position, now takes up the 2nd position. Miguel El Crudo had a big moment there into turn 4, I think it was. And managed to save it, didn't hit anything, but took out all the cones there in the process.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lundy, and boy, he didn't hit that wall very hard. I'm surprised that he took that tow. I just didn't think there'd be that much damage, but I guess there was.
So now Drew Litke is in 4th place, or was in, still is in 4th place. He may well, no, he's gone up to 3rd place now already, and Tim Collier is in 4th place. So Lundy has lost that position big time, that 2nd position, which is a real shame. His teammate Tom Ratchy just on the previous lap lost a position. He was on the podium as well. So 2 podium positions gone in a blink of an eye there, Kevin.
Yeah, it was looking pretty good for Puffin Racing, and yeah, as you said, kind of fell apart on them. Boy, it's been a rough race out here. So I guess to reset, Humberto Roca still leading, as we kind of assumed. Miguel El Crudo into 2nd place, back into 2nd. He started 2nd and has had quite the adventure tonight, but he is almost 43 seconds behind Humberto Roca. Drew Lidke in 3rd in that Can-Am racing car, and then his teammate Tim Collier is 4th in the Can-Am racing car, about 4 seconds behind Drew, and those are the only cars on the lead lap.
That's correct. And Robert Tarbox is next best. Now Robert started in 9th position. He fell back quite significantly. I think he was down at 13th, 14th position at one stage. And now he's got himself a top 5, so that still puts him in contention. 2nd place behind Tim Collier. Tim Collier, if he finishes where he is at the moment, the Pro-Am class lead will retain that lead without a doubt. And Robert Tarbox will be in 2nd place. I'll need to check where he was at the start of this race, but some good steady racing from these guys who we haven't talked about a heck of a lot. And Darian Bailey in the all-white car there will pull off a 6th place position. So once again, some of the not so talked about drivers just doing a great job in getting their car homes in one piece.
Well, Richard, I hate to break it to you, but Darian Bailey is in a black car, so got a little bit of white on it, but it's definitely not all white. Tim Collier, he started in 7th. He's in. This is for the Pro-Am lead right now. He's got Robert Tarbox Jr., who started 9th, is in 5th overall, but is about 15 seconds behind him. But that's going to be a tough ask to do. Tough ask with only about 2.5 minutes left in this race before we see the checkered flag fly. So unless something wonky happens, Tim Collier should pull home this Pro-Am class. And if you don't retain the championship lead after winning your class, the points issue is definitely something bizarre to talk about.
Naka spinning once again. We got that information. He's back on track now. Got some damage by the looks of it, obviously from the previous incident. But he's probably got a car that he's struggling with at the moment there, Kevin, without a doubt.
Oh boy, well, he spun in Sterling's and hit the left rear into the wall hard. And he is crabbing. I can see he has got definitely some yaw to that. So that car, I guess he's just going to try and limp it around to get the finish.
Oh no, he spins it again in turn 3. Can't get the car turned in there. Well, turned too much actually. So now he's taken the toe, Kevin. I think he may well give it up at this stage.
Well, yeah, there's nothing left for him. He's not going to be able to get the car repaired by the time the race is over. But I think he was just going to limp it home and try and preserve any points. But the way I could see it crabbing there, I knew he was just going to spin, and sure enough, he did. So let's see. Humberto Roca still in the lead, 45 seconds. Miguel El Crudo in 2nd, and Drew Lidke in 3rd. That is your podium. So with 60 seconds left, not entirely sure if we are going to see the white flag this time by. No, we will see the white flag this time by.
White flag is definitely out, but it may be for the next lap.
Yeah, I think it's for the next lap. Again, this is another thing that iRacing does not supply us with, is when the white flag comes out. So we don't always know until the end. You can see Tim Collier there staying in front of Humberto Roca. Roca not pushing an issue, breaking very early into Sterling. So I think Humberto's just saying, I'll let you have it. Nope, Humberto Roca's going to power on by right now. So there goes another lap.
Yeah, and I think the other driver, Tim Collier, gave up the position. There's no point in fighting the leader, who is leading you by 1 minute and 22 seconds. So here we go. This will be the last lap without a doubt, Kevin. Our leader Humberto Roca, hasn't he just killed the opposition off with his speed, with his consistency, every single race thus far? This will, if he manages to bring it home in first place, which really I can't see anybody taking it away from him, he could get out and push the car home now if he could if he had enough strength to push the car up the hills. But he's just been superb. There's no other word for it.
Yeah, he reminds me of Sebastian Vettel a few years ago, getting out to an early lead early in the race, maintaining that, and then just running a better pace than everybody else as they struggle and fall off. And he's definitely been helped, by everybody having big mistakes and spinning or wrecking. But boy, a 6-second lead over an hour-long race, that's amazing.
It is. And we should say that in the other series, the sister series, the endurance series, Kevin, he hasn't had it all his own way. So he's not perfect, but certainly in the sprint series here, 4 wins out of 4 races. Here comes Humberto Roca, final corner. He's got a car in front of him. He's still overtaking cars, heading towards the line, crosses the line now. The checkered flag is his for the taking, and wins the 4th round here. And may I say, he wins it in a very incisive fashion.
For sure. So still keeping an eye. Yeah, decisive. So Miguel El Crudo should finish up. That was Drew Lidke that he was fighting with across the line. I'm not sure, did Lidke cross the line before or after Humberto Roca? Looks like he crossed it before. So Lidke's still out there running, get his final lap in.
Correct. So Lidke, in fact, now the podium are the only cars.
Tim Collier just had a big off in Surtees, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that the podium positions are the only 3 cars that finished on the same lap. Everyone else is a lap or more down. But look, everyone is just finishing up now, and we will give you all the positions very soon once they've all done. But right now we're going to head off to a small break. Do watch the advertisements we have for our upcoming races. There are some pretty exciting ones coming up this weekend, so have a look at that, and we will be back soon. Welcome back to Brands Hatch here in the Champion Motorsports Sprint Series, folks. Now, we saw a race that had an amazing ending where, Kevin, the guys in second and third place looking pretty good suddenly just fell out of contention due to accidents. So that is what happens in racing, I guess, but I don't know why we have every one of the races that we broadcast here on the Global Sim Racing channel has an exciting finish. I don't think we've had one boring finish ever. But let's go to the standings for this particular race. Umberto Roca, first place, finished the race in just over an hour, 48 seconds in front of second place Miguel El Crudo. Drew Lidke finished on the podium in third place, a minute 28 behind, and those were the only three cars on the lead lap. In fourth place, there was Tim Collier, first of the Pro-M class. Fifth place, Robert Tarbox, second in Pro-M class. And Darian Bailey finished in sixth place. Jay Friels in seventh place. 8th place, Anthony James. 9th place, Kyle Heron. And 10th place, Kevin, Troy Fagan.
In 11th place was Victor Tanaka, 4 laps back. Jason Lundy in 12th, 6 laps back. Tom Ratchey in 13th, 9 laps back. Not a good day for the Puffin Racing Pro boys. They were running pretty well. In 14th, Brad Wren, 14 laps back. 15th, Paul Darling, 24 laps back. Sebastian Roca in 16th, 30 laps back. Rick Smith in 17th, 33 laps back. As you may have guessed, cars 11 through 17 essentially did not finish the race. They were all in pit lane when time ran out. But we do have some interviews, and first up is our race winner, Humberto Roca, who is going to get moved into our broadcasting booth and speak with Richard.
Humberto Roca, another win, 4 out of 4. You must be getting bored of winning. Can I say that?
Not really. This race was more of a practice for the endurance series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I know that Miguel, as my teammate, is running great. What I don't know what happened is that I saw that second place changed names like crazy.
Well, that's right. Puffin Racing, both Ratchey and Jason Lundy, they were in second and third place, and Victor Tanaka was just behind them. And there was just a big accident involving Ratchey, and your teammate Miguel El Crudo managed to get out of it just ahead of Ratchey, and then Lundy had a problem himself, but Tanaka got caught up with Tom Ratchey. So, whilst all of this was happening, I saw that you went into the pits and took tires late in the race. There was no reason not to take tires. You had that much of a lead.
Yeah, I usually, when I know that I have a certain advantage, it's better to take tires just in case, I don't want to screw anything up. And yeah, I usually take tires when I have that gap. But it's a tough track. I mean, it's very tricky. It was very slippery, and well, you can see that everyone, even me, I had a terrible mistake, and it was a tricky track today.
Oh yeah, but none of us ever run a perfect race, but yours was perfect enough to ensure, and what I would say is an easy win. 48 seconds that's a big gap, even with some problems. So Humberto, we are going to congratulate you on your 4th win out of 4 in this series, and we are going to leave it there. Thank you for talking to us, sir.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Alrighty, now we are going to bring in
Miguel El Crudo.
Miguel El Crudo, who finished up in second place, and Kevin Brown will have a few words.
Miguel, you started second, you finished second, but you spent a lot of the race not anywhere near second. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. I like this track because of the rhythm, but I've never had good luck on it. So I started with trying to follow Umberto. He was flying. Paul managed to catch me up a little bit, and then I just simply made a mistake and spun it. Uh, After that, it was just all about fighting with the car, the tires, trying to stay alive. I had to enter the pits at the 30-minute mark because my tires were already off. And then at the end, fighting with the puffing cars, had a touch with Tom, and unfortunately for him, he got the worst part of it.
Yeah, it looked like from where I was sitting when you and Tom made contact that you were spinning, and to Tom's detriment, he pointed you back in the right direction, saved your spin, and it caused him to spin and collect victor as well. Did you catch that at all while you're racing, or what was that contact like from your seat?
We were fighting hard, side by side, turn through turn. He was on worn tires. My car was also a little bit loose. I got a little bit on a slide on that turn. I don't think I was gonna lose the control, but it's just one of those things, tight, hard corner, and I think we just touched on the wrong spot. And as I said, he kept me, going straight, and he got the worst. It's a shame because Tom always runs me pretty clean, and we always are mixing up on battles. And then I saw Jason spun by himself on the same turn, and that's awful. He was having a great race also.
Yeah, he was. That was unfortunate for Jason. So next up is the Endurance Series, November 4th, and that'll be from Spa. Are you going to be around for what should be an amazing race in GT3s?
Oh yeah, that should be a love. I love Spa. That should be a good one.
All right, well, looking forward to seeing you there. Congratulations on your second today at a very difficult run.
Oh yeah, thanks Kevin. Thanks for everything you guys do. Awesome.
And that
All
was
right.
your second Miguel Alcrudo, Richard.
Yeah, and we will bring in Robert Tarbox and have a chat with Robert as well. Robert, there's a lot of truth in the saying that steady driving, consistency will get you somewhere. You were, if I'm not mistaken, the early part of the race down to somewhere around 15th place, and here you are in a 5th place. So good top 5, even though you're one lap down. You're still not that far behind Tim Collier, which is good for your championship standing. So would you say you had a good race, or were you just, or perhaps you're not happy with it?
Well, I mean, I'm not happy with the way that the beginning was because lap 2 I threw it into the wall. Luckily, I got the car locked down enough that when I hit the wall pretty square, it only hit it about 40 miles an hour. So when I got the car finally going again, the car actually was driving straight, and it didn't feel like I lost a lot of straight line speed, thankfully, because, this season the BMW is like, it's really twitchy and it's slow on the straight, so you just like, you got to get every advantage that you can. So I struggled so much with getting the differential right. I mean, like last season I would use like 75 for the preload setting, and this season I can't even use 40 without spinning out. So it was a learning experience today, I can say that at least.
Yeah, well, that's a big drop. So the cars become tougher to handle. We did notice there's a big drop off in straight line speed, particularly with the BMWs, as opposed to the McLarens, for instance, and even the roofs. The roofs seem to be much better than they were last season, don't you think?
Oh yeah. The roofs and McLarens, through CMS and the Block Pond Endurance Series, we're seeing as soon as we get on a straight, the roofs and McLarens just bolt. Like if you don't have a draft with them, you're not staying with them, plain and simple. But going back to the race, I like I said, I lost it in lap 2. I was probably on the broadcast for that, so I can't wait to go back and watch that. And then I made sure I pit a little early. I wanted to see how much damage that I had, and I noticed it was only 25 seconds of optional, and I decided, well, you know what? I'll just take like 5-10 seconds, just not push it too much. And apparently I got out there and put up some good lap times, because Darian was like 4 seconds ahead of me when I pit, and when he pit and came out of the pits, I was like 4 seconds ahead of him. So it might have been because he didn't practice pit entry. I'm not sure, because I make sure before I enter a race, at the end of qualifying and in practice, I at least practice pit entry at least once, pit in and pit out, because it is, you can gain so much time there. You don't realize it until you've done it a few times and you perfect it. And I think that's what helped me there, because I even noticed Tim was only 15 seconds ahead of me, when I think easily by the time I got the car recovered, he was 30 seconds ahead of me. So if this was the Endurance Series, who knows, maybe I could have got up there and competed with Tim, because, man, Tim was fast tonight.
All right, sir. Well, we congratulate you on a 5th place finish. Tough track, tough drivers around you, so that's a good finish, and we will look forward to calling your name once again at the next race at Spa. Thank you for talking to us.
All right, thank you guys, and catch you later.
All right, now I'll just check with our director. Do we have time to chat to Victor Tanaka? Looks like we do. Go ahead, Kevin.
Victor, so on paper you started 16th and out of 17 cars, and you finished 11th, 4 laps down, but that does not tell the story, because you were one of the fastest cars out there. So that's where I want to start, is at the beginning. What happened in qualifying? Why were you so far back on the field?
Well, it's pretty much the same story as Montreal. I got home in the middle of qualifying, and I just put the telemetry up, put racing fuel, and just went through some laps just to practice and get the perfect setup for the race. And I actually had a couple good laps on qualifying, but I got off tracks on those two, so it's really unfortunate, but that made the race a lot more fun starting from the back.
Yeah, you did a great job running through the field and got yourself up. I believe you were in the podium at one point, and then it kind of fell apart at the end. You got loose into Sterling's, it looked like.
Yeah, at that moment I was in 2nd place, and everything was going fine, but I paid the price for not having enough practice, I was learning the track as the race went, and if you look at my lap times, I think the middle of the race I started doing some 24s, because I was getting confident and learning the braking points and everything, how much I could push. But that one corner was always catching me. I think I had some 3 or 4 moments there. Yeah, I just paid the price for not practicing enough.
Yeah, this is not an easy track. You definitely need all the practice you can get. So that is a tough finish for what could have been a really great result tonight.
Yeah, when I got 2nd, I didn't believe it, and I was like, let's just keep this thing on the track and try to bring it home. And after I lost it, I just went all out, and I was kind of catching those guys, and I think a podium was still in play there until that unfortunate incident happened. But I don't think it was anyone's fault, just racing stuff, and him coming across the track was just really bad timing.
Yeah, that's for sure. So next race is in about 3 weeks' time, 3 or 4 weeks' time, and it's going to be an endurance round from Spa. You going to be around for that one?
Of course, I love endurance races. Hopefully, I can give Humberto a little challenge after Monza, right?
All right. Well, we're looking forward to a resumption of that, because that was a great race at Monza, that endurance round that you won. So again, congratulations on that.
Thank you guys, and thank you for the broadcast again. Really good stuff from you guys.
All right, it looks as if, Kevin, we have come to the end of yet another broadcast. Some pretty good racing there, I must say. Humberto Roca, very impressive, and of course everyone else fighting for their position on track here in this race and in the championship. So we'll bring all that news to you in time for the next race. Next race is the Endurance Series, as Kevin mentioned, at Spa. That will be pretty exciting with the draft at Spa, but we will have to wait a few weeks before that time. So in the meantime, let us go ahead and thank a few people before we close up on this broadcast. We'll start as usual with thanking the organizers of the series. They put a lot of hard work into managing this and their other series as well. We also thank a number of providers for the software and hardware that we use. That is, of course, iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, Ava Media. These folks all provide us with hardware and software, as we said. Thank you also to the broadcast team today, Kevin and Director Joe P. Thanks also to Dougie Beard for the camera sets. We must say that if you want to find out more about Global Sim Racing Channel, we have a website, globalsimracingchannel.com. Go along there and you'll find some of our archived races, some race highlights as well. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. And we're also on Twitter. And we have a handle at GSR Channel. We go on to thank the people who provide us with music for the broadcast. That's Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. They have some great music which you can find not only here on Global Sim Racing Channel, but in various TV commercials, movie trailers, even on iTunes and Spotify. Eric Ekholm has a website, ericekholm.com, and Casey Lalonde can be contacted at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Go and check them out, they've got some good music. Finally, as we always say at the end of each broadcast, drive hard but drive clean, and we will see you on track. Hopefully, just before I do close, you've seen some of the upcoming broadcasts that we have. This weekend's going to be pretty exciting, so don't miss it. Thank you for watching.